Welcome to this week's edition of Black Authors Matter TV, where we interview the latest movers and shakers in the African American literary community. You'll meet some old friends, discover new ones, and stay abreast of the latest book developments around the country and even the world. So sit back and relax for the next 2 hours with Black Authors Matter TV co-hosts Gwen Richardson and Dr. Rhonda Lawson.
Good evening. It is March 19th, and you have reached Black Authors Matter TV, your weekly show where you get all of the latest information and updates and new releases in the African American literature community. I'm Gwen Richardson, your host for tonight, along with my co-host,
Dr. Rhonda Lawson. Good evening, everyone.
and welcome back to the show for the our regular viewers, and for the people who are tuning in for the first time, welcome to you as well. We have some amazing guests again tonight, like we do every single Tuesday, and we're giving away one book. I'm not gonna say the book yet. Ooh. I knocked over my mic. Okay, I'm not gonna say the book yet, because I don't want people to get too much of a head start. So, but our first guest is her latest book. So you'll find that out when she comes on. So I want to welcome back to the show. She's been on before, Michelle Stimpson. And Michelle is a best-selling Christian fiction author. She's been writing for many, many years. She's a fellow Texan, or she lives in Texas. I don't know if she's from Texas, because I'm not from Texas, but last time I talked to her, she was in Dallas. So in the Dallas area. So Michelle, welcome back to Black Authors Matter TV, and congratulations on the release of your new book.
Thank you so much, Gwen. I appreciate the opportunity to share news about it. Hello, Rhonda. How are you, Dr. Rhonda?
Hey, it's good to see you again.
Same here. Thank you so
Look
much.
glamorous. I see you.
Mhm.
I'm trying, I'm trying to work it out, do my little thing.
Well, I saw some pictures of you at the Doc Bookshop,
Yes.
and you did an event with your new book, which is, I see it behind you, but do you have one that you can hold up?
I do.
Okay. It's Sisters with a Side of Green.
Yes, ma'am.
And that sounds like a down home type book that is all about family.
It is. It is. It is the story of two sisters, Rose and Marvina, who had a falling out 40 years ago over $40.
Okay. Well, people can fall out over small amounts or big amounts.
Yes, it's not even about the money at some point,
You're
especially
right.
when it's been going on 40 years. There's something else going on.
Mhm.
Rhonda, I'm sorry, Dr. Rhonda, I couldn't hear you.
No, I said it's about the principalities of the matter.
Right, that's what they say. That's what they say. But if it's been going on 40 years, you probably don't even remember what it was.
No, and sometimes it's just a symbol of it's what's at the surface for what's beneath. There's really something underlying their relationship and the friction that they've been having all those years. So, what made you think of the title? And I think it's eye-catching and ear-catching, and the cover is beautiful, very colorful.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Well, I actually didn't think of the title Sisters with a Side of Greens. When I submit a title, it's usually real bad. So I'm to the point now where I just submit untitled book in my contract. It says Michelle will write untitled book.
Okay. Now, can you tell what your title was? Are you able to share that?
Yes. Get ready to boo. Get ready to boo. The title was $40 ago. And they were like,
Dad.
I mean, see, that's what I'm saying. Somebody else would have done it. They were like, oh, that's ingenious. It's literary genius and talent. But then me, it just be like, no, that's not gonna work.
I don't think it's super bad. But editors do have the privilege, and they take it often, of
Well,
changing trends?
there was market research done. You know, the
Oh,
word
oh, okay.
sisters means a lot apparently in how people search for books and that kind of thing. So I know we needed sisters. And so, yeah, but I've seen when I go on Google or Amazon and I see where people are looking for the book, I can see where people are putting in sisters with a side order of greens and all kinds of different things to find the book.
It hit me, sisters with a side of greens. The greens
Mhm.
is the $40, right?
It could be. It
Okay.
could be,
Oh,
but
that's
it's
true. It
also food.
could be like a symbolism.
It could, in my mind, that's how deep it
Okay.
is to me. But yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Well, it's interesting that there was science behind it,
Yes.
behind
Yeah.
the
Mm,
selection of the title.
Exactly. Exactly. Kind of that Southern fiction genre kind of comes with food and that kind of thing. So it all kind of went
Okay.
together. And I like the title. I never fight for my titles because I've just had so many rejected I don't even fight the people anymore.
like you just stick to writing the books and we'll name them,
Yes,
right?
I'll do all that other stuff. I never really actually have a vision for the cover either. I knew it was coming out in the spring and I knew they were going to do something, poppy and that kind of thing. So it worked out well because I've been trying to find outfits that match the book cover when I go places. Tonight I just got my lipstick together. Um,
Okay.
but I've been trying to, and this is a hot color for the spring. It made me wonder if they are like looking at fashion to see what's going to be hot. Everybody has this color in stock in the stores, so it's been interesting to see that orange and green and pink show up everywhere, like this deep fuchsia pink, and
Hmm.
that's not something I see every year. So I wondered if that was a piece of it as well.
It could be because Sunday at church, I was in the ladies' room and a lady had on a dress that color.
I'm
And I
telling you.
complimented her on it. And she
Mhm.
said, well, the seasons change. So I changed, with it. But she had on that color. So maybe it is something.
Yeah, maybe that's a part of the research for all I know.
Could be. That's interesting. I never really had anybody say that they researched the titles.
Oh yeah,
Um,
there was a study group, like a
like
control
a
group
focus
and all that
group.
kind of. Yeah.
And the big publishers, they have the money to do that kind of thing.
Yeah,
Right.
that's what they do.
Yeah.
But it
I'll let them
makes
do it.
sense though. You want something that's going to capture people's attention, especially if they go to a place like Barnes and Noble where there are so many books. Sometimes the color of the book is what's going to attract their attention and make them pick it up.
Right, right. And this is fun, poppy, um, kind of just a title and a cover that makes you smile. And that's what this book kind of does. It's a feel good type of a book. And so I think that all goes well together. So there's a lot that goes into how a book should feel when you pick it up and what attracts you to the book.
Yeah, they have the resources to put behind a book to make it the most successful that they
Right,
can in their system.
right, exactly. Within their system.
Mhm.
That's a good piece. That's a good point as well.
Because a lot of times people, when they come out with something and they self-publish it and they market it, it's based on none of that. So they don't have that.
Right.
So they lead with their passion and
Mhm.
whatever their vision is, and sometimes it's just hustle. It's a
Yeah.
lot of
Well,
time. It's
and
still that, even when you get published.
yeah, there is a lot of hustle involved. More hustle than I recall, because the last time I published with a publisher was over 10 years ago.
Oh,
And social media was kind of not
it
where
was
it is
just
now.
taken
We
off.
have
Still pretty
Instagram,
new. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's been interesting to me to kind of have that before and after feel for this work and this perspective. But I would say if there are, would-be authors in the house, independent authors who are going to be publishing, to at least go online and look at, the bestsellers in your genre and see what's on those book covers, because you don't want to be too far from that. If you write, cowboy romance and everybody has a man with cowboy boots on the cover, then you need a man with cowboy boots on your cover.
To
You
attract.
don't want to stick out in the bad way.
That is true. When my most recent book, which is a mystery, Exodus from Treachery, I had in my mind, I had this picture of there's a committee at the center of the story. And in my
Mhm.
mind, I had like some people sitting around the table, and I couldn't get the graphic person to get what I wanted. Then I went online and looked at the covers, and all of the mystery covers have one person on. It might be a person like in the distance or in the
Mhm.
foreground, but it's one person. So,
Yeah,
or no people. Some of them have no people.
right. I've seen those bold titles.
Yeah. Mhm. So I said,
Mhm.
well, I'm not gonna go against the grain. Let me just, do
Right. Yeah,
do
your
what,
book
you know,
needs to look like it's gonna
fall
fit
in
right there
line.
on
Right.
the shelf. Right
Right.
on the shelf with the rest of them. Yeah.
Right. That's true. Now, which book is this for you?
I'm gonna say early 60s, 60 something. I need to sit down and write down all my titles. I mean, I have this growing list, but I don't be going back to it that often. But this is 60 something. How
Well,
about
you
Wow.
have
that?
so many books, you just lose count, right?
Right? I have an aunt who had 13 kids, and I think she ran out of names. She just started naming them by whatever month they was born in. They had an April, they had a May. That's where I am. I don't even give them titles anymore. Just have them.
Well, yeah, I can see that. I can see how that would
It's
be
been a blessing though. It's been good.
yeah. And now I don't know. I think it was your first book, but was Boaz Brown your first book?
It was, and it came out 20 years ago.
Yeah, and I met you when that book was out.
Yes, you're one of my
When,
very, very first book. I think you might have been my first, maybe my first or second. It was me, Victoria Christopher Murray, and Sharon Ewell Foster came to your store.
mhm, yeah. And so it took 20 years to get to 60. That's pretty darn good.
That is good.
Thank
That's
you.
what you're averaging what, 3 books a year?
On average, I would say in those when Kindle first came out, and a lot of my titles are novellas, so they're not as long as the novels, right?
Okay.
But I think I was trying to put one out every other month at one point because that's just how fast people were consuming those Kindle books when they first came out.
Right.
Hmm. Well, if you
Mhm.
are able to come up with that many stories, that's great.
It's
And
been
it was a
amazing.
series. Was it the Mama Bee? Was it
Yes, Mama
part
B
of
has
it?
10 books in her series. And
Okay.
these are my books I've co-authored with other people. So it's been neat to, I mean, I've written a lot of books. I just want to give credit where it's due. There's also been people who have been co-authored with me as well. So it's been an interesting ride through indie, through traditional, through now hybrid, where I have some things I do myself and then some things I'm doing with publishers. So it's interesting to watch the industry evolve in so many different ways.
It has because um, if I'm not mistaken, the traditional publishers used not let you do indie publishing when you signed with
Right.
them, and
A
then they
lot of
became
them
a little
don't.
more flexible.
Right. I think they don't. I think the market just made that happen. Um, but even still, like with the publisher that I have now, we're looking at, a certain window of time that's allotted for me to promote their works, the books that I publish with them. But it's neat because even when that book comes out with the major publisher, then I see the sales uptick for my indie books because people read this book and they go, "This is really great. What else has this author done?" And they want to see more stuff. So, it's got to be a win-win. I was never anti-publisher, but I was always anti-bad deals for authors. And I
Well,
want to have the flexibility and to be able to look out for, be able to say in their contracts, this is my full length novel of this genre with this publisher, but I'm free to do novellas in this other genre myself if I want to.
okay, so you
And
don't do exclusively
that gives you
Christian
freedom though.
I'm
fiction?
sorry, y'all both talking.
Yeah.
No, I was saying that gives you freedom because now you're able
Right.
to write in other genres if you want.
If you want to. And I know that there are people writing other genres under different pen names if they want to as well. So people are just doing all kinds of stuff. But it's interesting. I wanted an agent who recognized that when they talk to my publisher on my behalf, this needs to be a part of that conversation.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean,
So you're not exclusively Christian fiction.
No, this actually is women's fiction. But the funny thing about it is I am a believer and who I am always comes out in my work. And so I mean, most of the reviews are awesome, but the ones that have been a little on the fence are like, there was a sermon in here. Like, people go to church. I mean, would you have said that if there was a football game in there?
But you're never going to win, because then you'll also have your Christian readers who will say, "Oh, this is too secular." They went to a football game, because there are some people who believe that
Yes.
shouldn't be going to watch football.
Right.
Or they
Somebody
should have
got
a glass of wine. So you'll never win
never
and make
know.
everybody totally
Yeah.
happy.
And that's art. This is art. This is part of it. I remember Mama B in her second book, before she was married, she was dating somebody and she kissed somebody. And somebody wrote this terrible review because Mama B kissed a man before she got married. So you just never know.
Yeah, you can't satisfy every reader. It's just not possible. And sometimes, well, for me, I write what I think, what I know I want to say in whatever the book is, and what I want to convey in the book. But sometimes those reviews, I know I had one like 2-star review for my book, The Genesis Files, because the character used the N-word in the book, which was 3/4 of the way through the book, and the character was a racist. He was an about race. So it was in character for the person. But if they got all the way 3/4 of the book and then one word offended them, I said, well, all right. At least hopefully you read it on the Kindle Unlimited, where I got credit for those pages with you turned.
We'll take that. We will take that. And I think that's one thing with Sisters with a Side of Greens. I had to really think about, because I'm with a publisher at this point. So, there are different points that they want to hit and different things. And I don't think that those are necessarily bad things. But I think when you're writing with the market in mind even more, there's this fine line between what you want to say and what people need to hear. Those are not necessarily the same thing. And so I keep that in mind. But even if you're indie published, there's you just don't have the middle person, but you still have the reader, right? Who expects certain things. So if you're writing in a certain genre, there are just mores that you want to follow, because if you're writing romance, they have to be together by the end of the book.
Yeah, it has to have a happy ending. It has to have that happily ever after ending in romance. And I always wonder if, because I don't read romance except for I read Beverly Jenkins, and that's because hers are historical. So I like the historical version. But I just wonder how many of those happily ever afters can you absorb, and it's enough. Like, okay, this is it. But it's not just for me. It's not the genre for me. That's why.
Yeah, I understand. I mean, I go through different phases where
they sell a ton of books.
Yes, people
and it's
love
a ton that come out like constantly.
It's a dedicated audience. That's why
it is.
It's the market that's there and that's can consume books at a rapid rate. So
that hardcore romance is coming back like a vengeance, right? So you've got Kennedy Ryan, you've got Colleen Hoover, all these authors who are bringing romance back, like swooning romance. So it's interesting to see that in the industry, that's pendulum swing.
And with the younger writer, and Kennedy Ryan, I don't know Colleen.
Oh,
well, she wouldn't be on Black Authors Matter, but she
should be on Authors Matter.
I didn't think so.
No, she wouldn't be on Black Authors Matter, but I think she's broken so many records. I mean, just look her up. She got
I've seen her name, but I don't, know who she is.
I've read her work. I've enjoyed her work. I enjoy her work as well.
Now, tell us a little more about the story. The sisters and where the setting is, and
thank you.
Don't give away any spoilers.
No spoilers.
A little
all right. So we got Rose and we got Marvina, these two sisters who fell out 40 years ago, $40. Rose just retired from the post office after 30-something years. She always wanted to run a restaurant with their mother's secret spice recipe, but she knows she can't do it by herself, especially not at this point in her life. And she's going to try to go for it. But the problem is when she makes the recipe for the seasoning again, she fixes it for her ex-husband who was in the novel. That's a whole other story. And he lets her know this doesn't taste exactly the way it tasted, the last time you made this for me. And she's like, what do you mean? And he says, you're going to have to get with your sister and figure out what it is. So the only person in the world who knows what to do is Marvina, which is her sister, back
Okay.
in Fork City, Texas. So she makes the trip back. Now, Marvina is in a different place. Marvina is a little bit younger, a couple of years younger. Marvina has been using this seasoning recipe for decades, and she's been teaching the young people at her church how to cook with this seasoning. Well, the church is getting ready to do something different, and they don't want her to do her ministry anymore, where she's teaching children how to make fried chicken. But they don't recognize it's not just about the fried chicken; it's about the generational connection, and cooking brings people together and that kind of thing. But they want to join this other group and do this other new thing. And so we have Marvina wondering, what am I going to do now with my mother's legacy? So they both have this idea of what they want, but they don't really get along. And they really have different ideas for what this should look like, honoring mother's recipe. And mother's gone. That's part of the issue in this book is, how do you and your siblings reconnect or connect differently after a parent leaves, after a parent dies? Because sometimes mama is the one who's the peacemaker. Mama might have been the one who was managing y'all's relationship. And when she's gone, what do y'all do without
And
that
that's
peace?
real life.
That's
That
real
is
life.
real life.
Right. When
real
Big
life.
Mama's gone, Christmas isn't the same. How do y'all make new traditions, and how do all of those kinds of things? So it's family, it's food, it's forgiveness, it's reconnection, and it's real because these two sisters have a very different understanding of who Mama was. They experienced her differently. I was just talking to somebody yesterday, and there's like 12 years between the oldest child and the youngest child, and they have very different experiences of who their parents were.
Mm.
So it's interesting, like, to think through all of that family dynamic in this book as well.
Well, you are a really, really, really
Don't
good writer. So
Thank
Tony
you.
Medina said, don't give it away. She hasn't finished it yet.
Okay, I'm not gonna give it away. I'm not gonna say another word about the whole plot, but I hope you're enjoying it. And it hit home for me because my mother passed away 5 years ago, and that same year my grandmother passed away. And so everything kind of changed between me and my brothers. We had different ideas of what should have happened in the end. We should, should you have been here? Should I have been there? And all those kinds of things we had to kind of work through after mother passed away, and to really redefine our relationship without kind of this common thing. I mean, we had our own relationship, but I think my mother had a different relationship with my brother than she did with me. And so, not that one was good or bad, but we just have to get to know each other again, kind of without that common element. And that I wasn't expecting that to happen. But
mother's passing, because my mother passed 22 years ago. 22 years ago next month. And it does affect dynamics. Sometimes it can bring you together, and sometimes, it just changes. Things change.
Yeah.
So it's good to write about real things with fictional people.
I love it. I love it. I absolutely love it.
Yeah. So
you
now
had an interesting promo or kind of a lead up to the launch of your book, where you were giving away seasonings, or people could order seasonings.
Yes, I did.
Tony Benita already said the seasoning is good, so I'm guessing it.
I wish I had one up here. They're on the side. I'm gonna have to go over there and get it and come back. But yes, I decided that I wanted to do some type of a pre-order promo that was, a lot of fun, and people really, I know people love food. I know that. If I don't know nothing else, people love food. And so I was going to different places, and I was kind of taking little videos of me going places looking for seasoning. And one of my readers reached out and said, my husband, he and I run a barbecue joint, and we would love to partner with you to make this. And so I was like, okay.
Wow.
So I, said, told them what pages, the recipe was on and everything. And well, I didn't have the recipe, but the spices that they were using were on, and they formulated a recipe for a really a seasoning that could go on just about anything. And so I was like, I want it to be good for fried chicken. I want it to be good for eggs. I want it to be good. I've been in restaurants. I was at a restaurant the other day, and they had like a broccoli soup, and it was like it wasn't Higgins. So I just pulled that thing out of my purse and start freaking. It can go on just about anything, and people
Okay.
loved it. And so the people who ordered from Riches and Reading, I partnered with a Black-owned independent bookstore. They got the seasoning and they got the book. Now people are now texting me and calling me, I need the seasoning. What? How can I thought I ordered the audio book from Amazon. No, you ain't never got no audio book and got no special nothing. You know that audio book don't work like that. But I don't know if they just, there might have been a misunderstanding for all I know. But the seasoning is available online through that restaurant. So I will have to give y'all the link. I'll put the link in the chat.
So is the restaurant in the Dallas area, or where are they located?
No, it is actually in St. Petersburg, Florida.
So they
Oh,
just
okay.
they just read
They
your
just
books
reached
and
out.
Yeah, well, they are readers. The lady, Adrian Hill, the restaurant is hilltopgrill.net. That's their website. And Adrian is the wife, and she's just been reading Mama B and all my other books for years. And she just reached out, and I was like, yeah, thank the Lord. Because I don't know how to make no seasoning.
And that gives creates some buzz for
It
the book
definitely did.
too.
It is. People who are loving it are loving it. And people have run out of seasoning and they need some more seasoning. So
That's
it's been really good.
that
wonderful.
winds
And
up
I was
being great promotion
Mhm.
for you and that business.
It
Yeah.
really has been good, and Riches in Reading as well. So 3 businesses got that push. I thought I was going to be able to do a whole bunch of stuff in my kitchen and cook in that, but then my kitchen got flooded out in October. So that took
Mm,
about 6 months to get with the program. So we
that's
had to
good.
kind of play around with that, but we worked it out. God is good. My kitchen is fixed. It's all
Thank
good.
God for that.
Yeah. So
Well,
now
we
as I'm writing my next book, I'm like, what am I going to put in there? I think about that in the marketing piece now. What am I going to write into the plot that can be part of the pre-order?
That makes a lot of sense, though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Something that's going to kind of be the symbol of that book.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right. And people are doing the gift boxes now, the promo boxes for before or as books are released too. That's
Mm-hmm.
that's become a new marketing tool.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
there's all kinds of things people can
Yeah.
do.
Lots of chances to partner as well.
Yeah.
We only have a couple of minutes left,
Mhm.
unfortunately. But remind us where we can find your books. Is the seasoning promo still going on? Can
No,
people still get up? Nope, you're too late. No more seasoning for you.
they can get the promo of getting the book with the seasoning is not currently going on at this time. However, they can, I'll put the link to the order the seasoning in the chat for I'm going to go on live and just as soon as I get off of here. And then
Okay.
also if you go to my website michellestimpson.com and join my email list, when I send out the book club kit, you'll see the link will be in there, as well as some other activities. Like there's a book club bingo that you could print off with your team if you want to. Y'all could do a Are You Team Rose or Are You Team Marvina contest while you're in the book club. So lots of
That's
fun stuff
cool.
coming.
Okay, that's neat. And somebody said, Shaniqua said, it's called a funnel. That's great for promotion. Something about the mixture of doing
Yeah, the way
boxes or doing
the way they buy one thing, and then if they buy
get
the one
something
thing, they
else.
get to buy something for a
Right.
little bit more, and then you're adding them to the email list. So it all goes together. It's just one big funnel.
Yeah, I didn't know what it was called. I just knew it was marketing. I didn't know it had a specific name. Well, Michelle, thanks so much for being a guest on Black Authors Matter TV once
Thank you
again.
so much.
And when your next book, you said you're working on the next one.
Yes.
When it's before it's released, let us know and let us
Okay.
know the release date so we can get your book back on the show again.
All right. I will. I don't have a title, as you know, but
Okay.
I'll let you
Don't worry,
know.
editor's gonna help you with that.
Right. Bye, y'all. Thank you again.
All right.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Have a
Take
great day.
care.
Bye-bye. You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Okay, before we bring on our next guest, we have a few announcements. And first, our Black Authors Matter TV Awards process for voting has begun. It started at midnight, 12:01 last night. And you all have already been voting. So what happens on this show is we take everyone who's been on the show for a full year, and it goes from March to March. And then they are put in categories, and you all get to vote on the most compelling interview. This year we have 14 categories. So it's broken down by book genre. And then we also have the 2 categories of bookstores and book industry support. And book industry support is everything that's not an author in a bookstore. So it's book organizations, book events, book clubs, anything that's not an author or a bookstore. So the voting has begun. You can find the link to voting if you haven't seen it online already. If you go to blackauthorsmattertv.com and scroll down a little bit, there's a paragraph about the awards and a link to voting. You can vote once a day per IP, but you can vote multiple times during the process. The voting ends on April 4th. And then we announce the finalists, 5 finalists in each category. We announce on, I believe, April 9th, if I'm not mistaken. So, and the award show itself is in May, the middle of May. I don't have the date in front of me, but it's a really nice process. And if you all haven't seen the awards, it's always really, really nice. People are very honored and excited about the support. And we get to dress up, and we do just like, the Grammys and everything. We announce it. And we have entertainment in the middle. We have some entertainment. So stay tuned for that. Also, the National Black Book Festival registration, the early bird registration ends March 31st. For those who want to be vendors, it ends the end of this month. We are at roughly 50% ahead of where we were last year with vendor registrations. So we expect to sell out a vendor space by June. So please don't procrastinate if you want to participate. It's going to be great. The Black Authors Matter Children's Book Awards process is underway. That closes June 3rd. So if you're a children's author and you have a book you want to submit for that awards process, that's ongoing. You have till June 3rd to submit your book. And finally, our first book club kickback of the year, it won't be until May 21st, but we'll be discussing Alyssa Cole's new book, One of Us Knows, and she'll be on the kickback, because the kickbacks always have the authors that we're discussing their book and the book clubs. So if you're a book club and you are connected with the show, you'll get an email about signing up for that this week. So, and if you have a book club and you aren't, you can DM us and we'll add you to the list so you'll get the information. So, having said that, we're bringing on our next guest, Valerie Lewis Coleman. And Valerie is an author, and she's also a prolific book event organizer and planner. So I contacted Valerie because we had her on with her other event that she used to have, and I thought she was still having that, but she's kind of made some adjustments and changed directions a little bit. So we're going to let her tell you about her new event, which is focused on children. So Valerie, welcome back, because I think you were on like the first year of the show or something like that. It's been a while. Oh, we need to unmute. And
how's that? Can you hear me?
Great.
That
Yes.
makes a difference, huh?
It does.
I think
Then
I
she
was on
came in with the
first time
raspy
the
voice.
pandemic with Rhonda. Hey, Rhonda.
Hey, lady, how you doing? It's good to
I'm
see
well.
you.
How are both of you ladies doing?
We're
I'm
great.
sorry, Dr. Rhonda. Let me get that
Yeah.
straight, honey. Not that you
But see,
require it, but I require it of
you actually
myself.
knew me when I was sergeant.
Right. Well, now you doctor. How are you today? I know it.
So yeah, I think you might have been, you were either on in 2020 or 2021. So it's been a while.
Absolutely, yeah. So the book fair that I'm doing now is the When I See Me BIPOC Children's Book Fair. I used to do the Dayton Book Expo, did that for 10 years. and it was time for a shift. And then the pandemic hit, so it just kind of collided and said,
Okay.
enough of that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, did it for 10 years and
Okay.
connected maybe overall over the 10 years, we had about 700 authors and connected them with hundreds of people. So it was a great, a great experience. But now, as a grandmother, and I published my children's book just prior to the pandemic, Oh, the Things I Can Be When I See Me, which is a conversations with my two granddaughters. When I was out and promoting the book, going into schools and childcare facilities, I ran into so many children who had not seen themselves represented on the books they read. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
I'm going to our babies. Let me be very clear. I'm going to the
Yeah.
schools, in our communities, and I was just surprised at the number of children who had not seen characters who look like them on their book. And not just brown, but like, this is my grandbaby Lyric, and she made it very clear at 3 years old that she was Lelo, because the illustrator initially drew her as chocolate brown. And she said, no, that's not me, Mimi, I'm Lelo. But what I realized is babies don't see themselves, and how excited they would get when I was out at events and they saw books with them or people who look like them on the front cover. And that was a great thing. So I'm excited about When I See Me. It's my first year doing this particular event. But like I said, I've been doing citywide book events in Dayton since 2005.
Okay.
Well, how was it in finding an illustrator? Because with a book like this, where you want to have so many hues of melanin represented, it's very important that you find an illustrator who knows how to make those colors come to life. So how difficult was the process in looking for an illustrator?
That's such a great question, Dr. Rhonda. Well, for me, my illustrator, actually, I found her on social media. She was my second option. The first gentleman was in Indonesia, and he just disappeared on me. He had internet issues. I can't work with that. So I found another illustrator via Facebook, and she's from Poland, and she lives in Scotland. So English is her second language. She's Caucasian. And so when I told her to make my grandbaby lighter, she didn't understand what I was meaning. She was doing it from the graphics designer perspective, changing the transparency just a little bit, but not enough to make her lighter. So that there was a barrier there that she said, well, I'm not understanding what you want. Give me a copy of a book. Show me a book that has a cover with a child the color of your baby. I said, okay. And looked through the first 30 pages on Amazon and children's books, African-American children's books, the first 30 pages on Google Journal, and couldn't find a book with a light skin, or what we, red bone, if you will, Lelo baby. I had to go into the Latino market to find a child the color of my grandbaby. So that should have been a aha moment for me right there. They're just not a lot. Everybody just tends to do the same color brown. Now what I do with my clients' books, because I've got several clients who are doing children's books, I have a hue chart, a human hue chart. And, we are a vast colors.
Yeah.
And I chose one that has 18 shades. And then I have my authors identify which skin tone is closest represented to the character that they want to possess. And so that way, then I send it to the illustrator, and they have the hue. It's easier for them to match them. He's saying, make her lighter, make her lighter. And also giving them reference photos. So I had sent her, and I don't think I sent it to her initially, but then I sent her also a picture of my grandbaby so that she could get an idea of skin tone, because everybody doesn't get it. We come from albino to midnight black and everything in between.
That is true. And sometimes when you're working with a non-Black author, they don't get it. I had for my mysteries, I worked with, I think he was in the Ukraine. He was very good, but I changed the cover where I had like an abstract, like shadow, and I wanted an actual physical human, and it needed to be a brother. Well, the person that he picked, the guy didn't look, the hair, he made the hair curly, but the skin tone was still the same. So I had to send him some pictures of, brothers so he could know. And he did a good job making the adjustment. But
absolutely.
I guess that's something they don't really think about, especially in the European countries. It's not something that they even deal with much. in some
It's
of the
a
countries.
very emotional subject. Even amongst Black people, skin color is a very emotional subject.
Yes.
Like for even with your baby when she said I'm Lelo. Somebody else would take that to mean what's wrong with being darker? Like that's just not my color. I'm happy with the color that I am. And unfortunately, we have to go through those explanations all the time. So it's very important that representation takes the forefront when creating these characters.
Absolutely. And it's, there's been studies done by the CCBC. Don't ask me what it stands for, but it's Children's Cooperative, something, something. And they're based out of Wisconsin. They are connected to a college. And based on their studies of children's books every year, they found initially, when I first looked at I think it was a 2018 study, less than 12% of all books that had been sent to them, not all books published, but that sample model was of people of color. Black, indigenous people of color, so Native American, Hispanic, Asian, Polynesian, all that fell into 12%. Then the next category, as far as the characters, were animals and inanimate objects. And then Caucasian children represented like 60% of the books that were published. So, if you see yourself all the time, you don't think about not seeing yourself because you're everywhere. But for our babies, that wasn't. Now it's more, I think it's much more prevalent now than it was just a few years ago. Because the last study they did, I think was 2020, the percentage went from like 12% total to about 25, 30% total. But that's still just the books that they've received. That's not all the books that are being published. So collectively, we just don't publish a lot of books that represent our babies, and definitely not in a huge. So even within all the things I can be when I see me, there are other children who are introduced sporadically, and I made sure that I chose hues that were not the two that my granddaughters were, just so that we can see a wider array of colors.
Rhonda, right, it is. You're right, Rhonda, about it being an emotional topic, even among ourselves. Because when I did my book, Boss Women, and it's a book about 7 African American women who built their businesses from the ground up, but it's a children's book. And so my artist illustrated, these were real people, and she did illustrations of the real people, where there were 7 of them. So I had to figure out how to arrange their it's just them from the torso. So it's just like head and shoulders. So I had to arrange them on the cover so that it fit, that it worked. And I ended up with like a pyramid, like a triangle with one on top. And then, so one person, either she emailed me, or I don't know if it was a review. I think it was an email. She emailed me, or she DM'd me. It was something. She said that, why did I have the light-skinned people on the bottom and the darker skinned people, like they were in control.
Superior or something.
Would have gotten that same message.
She was reading something into it that had nothing.
We're emotional. We're sensitive about our color.
I was like, what? How do you even get your mind in that direction? I'm trying to arrange them so it fits. That's all. I wasn't even thinking about any of that. But it's just people see things, and it can be good or bad, but they see, 2 people can look at an accident and see 2 different things, or a crime scene or whatever, or a situation, and you get 2 different versions. So I guess that's part of that. Now, the I see me, is your I the letter I or EYE?
Oh, capital I. My thing is, when I'm teaching young readers, I want the words to be the way they should be. So when the letter I see me, yes, great question. Because it's important, I don't want to introduce comparisons or symbolism or quirks, and then the children aren't clear on I versus I. Because when they read when I see me, my whole thing is for them to internalize that as well. But there is I think a bookstore with the
I was gonna say that there's an I see me EYE bookstore. I forgot where it's located. It's somewhere in the Midwest.
Yeah, I think it's I think it's a little bit south, Midwest and South, maybe North Carolina or
It's not. I don't
Missouri.
think it's in North
I
Carolina.
don't know.
But anyway, they're somewhere in the United States.
Yeah, in the U.S. Black owned
Black owned.
bookstore.
Because they've been on the show. The
Oh,
guy
okay.
who does it has been on this show. He's been a while back, but he was on the show. So, but that's like a theme for, and it's a children's bookstore.
Mm-hmm.
So, the I See Me, and I've seen other books with the I See Me thing. But it is.
Oh, see, I haven't. I haven't.
I have.
Really?
We have the book awards. We have the children's book awards. So
Okay.
Yeah, she all kinds of children's
yeah,
books.
we get all kinds of children's books that come in.
Well, what do you know? Look,
So,
mine came out in 2019. I don't know when the other ones came out, but the
there
things
was
I can be.
recent.
Okay. The things I can be when I see me was my way of empowering my grandbabies to see women who have done the things that they told me that they want to do when they grow up and who look like them. So now they have this internal empowerment. Well, if she did it, I can do it. If who I mentioned so many people in the book. Faith Ringgold can be a visual artist, and I can do it too. And if Aisha Curry can do this, then I can do it too. And if Simone Biles, now there's a lot more context in the book, but the intent is to show the children, and not just girls, but more specifically girls, giving them role models, modern day trailblazers, and historical figures who have done the things they hope to do. I couldn't find an archaeologist. My granddaughter said she wanted to be an archaeologist. 3 years old. Maybe I want to be an archaeologist. Girl, get somewhere.
That's awesome. Stop that.
Can
You
she
know, I
say
think
the
that's one of
word?
the reasons why
I
I
said
like.
archaeologist. That's 5 syllables.
Yeah.
Archaeologist.
At least she knows what an
Find
archaeologist
dinosaur bones.
is.
Oh,
She knows what an archaeologist is. That's the
Wow.
good thing.
wow.
What I was going to say though is that's one of the reasons why I really love The Princess and the Frog, because that character Tiana is based on a real person. Yeah, she's based on Leah Chase, who is a well-known chef in New Orleans. Well, she's passed away in the last couple of years, but that whole character was based on Leah Chase.
Okay.
And so if you ever go into Dookie Chase restaurant, Dookie Chase was her husband. And even though Leah was the one who was doing all the cooking, the restaurant was named after him. He had the restaurant. She met him, and then he basically gave her a platform to make her food. But if you go into the restaurant to this day, there's a beautiful picture right before you go into the dining room of her sitting at a table with Princess Tiana with her arm around her, and it said "The Real Princess of New Orleans."
Oh wow!
So these are those small stories that a lot of people don't know.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I've seen that that movie, that Disney movie, but I didn't know that was based on an actual person.
Yep, based on an actual person. I mean, she didn't fall in love with a frog. They had to just
doctor.
Yeah.
You mean she didn't kiss the frog and it turned into a prince?
No, that didn't happen.
That didn't happen. Not even in New Orleans. So, Valerie, what since this is like a reboot of a different type of book event, what made you make the shift? And then what have you noticed about planning a children's book event versus the one that you were doing before,
so
which basically included all the genres?
Right. So the biggest shift came from me, seeing children not seeing themselves. There's a void in our specific city. The reading level proficiency for children, young underrepresented children, our Black and brown babies, is some of the lowest in the state. The lowest 3 school districts are in my community. And so when children fall in love with reading and they can immerse themselves in these stories and see themselves as positive, have these role models and can project themselves into the future and say, I can do this thing, it makes a difference. So my thing is I want to plant the seed early, and I want to do it with this book fair by bringing in BIPOC authors with books that feature BIPOC characters. And it's going along great. The city, the community, everybody's excited about it. The Dayton Metro Library is sponsoring the space. I'm having it in one of the new libraries in the city. I've got different organizations that are going to have activities going on for kids at the same time. And I'm doing an initiative called A Book in Every Bag. where I am planning on having soliciting donations through a GoFundMe. And what I'm doing is having children, people, as they donate money, then what I'm going to do is give the child a voucher when they arrive at the festival. They got to be there. They don't just, mama got 10 kids and only one show up. You only get one voucher. But they have a voucher, and then they can go and choose a book. They can pick a book from one of the attending authors. And then I will compensate the author at the end of the event. I'll compensate the author for all the vouchers that they, return to me. And then I'll use those vouchers also to track the most requested book at the event. So that'll give the author some shout out, after the fact. So it's important for me to make sure that, because not everybody can afford a book. And we, keeping it 100, if you will. So this way I'll get donations from people who can attend the event or not attend the event. And then I'll be able to purchase books from the authors that the children choose. In addition to, educators and people coming in to sponsor or purchase their own copies of their books. The biggest difference between this and the Dayton Book Expo, I think the biggest thing is because I want BIPOC authors. I have the B in BIPOC. I'm having a challenge finding the IPOC. With Dayton Book Expo, it was just come one, come all. We didn't specify genre. We just didn't want erotica or books that promoted extreme violence because children were coming through the venue. So we didn't want those kind of books displayed. And we had, Caucasians, there was all genres, mystery, romance, fiction, nonfiction, biographies. It was just all kind of stuff. And so with that, we were able to, have a wider pool of people, if you will. And so now with the BIPOC, I'm limiting not just authors, but the type of book that they're providing, because I really want the babies to see themselves. I know a lot of authors who have children's books, but again, they have, inanimate objects or animals or flowers. I want the babies to see themselves. So the biggest challenge so far, because the space is available, I'm getting volunteers and everything else is coming along, is getting the authors who want to see, who have the type of books that I want displayed and available for sale.
So it's basically local, it's people in the area.
No, actually, the first person to register, the very first person who registered is, oh no, now you're gonna get me to lying to you, but she's not local.
Okay.
Yeah, she is not local.
And when is the event?
You say what?
When did you say the event is?
I'm sorry, it's July 27th. That might be important, huh? July 27th, Dayton,
Okay.
Ohio,
Okay.
from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. That's Eastern Standard Time. And the website for the event is wheniseeme.com. All the words are spelled out, wheniseeme.com. And then for the fundraiser is bit.ly/wheniseeme, bit.ly/wheniseeme. And that's for the GoFundMe. So I can make sure that every child who comes gets a book.
Okay. Well, now so you're letting people pick their own books. Are you accepting donations from authors?
Absolutely. So the authors can, if they can't be there in attendance, then they have the option of sending promotional material. Or I'm going to have a full color program book. They can have take out an ad in the full color program book. I don't want a lot of books donated because I've got several organizations who want to donate books. But again, if all the books are donated, then the authors won't necessarily be able to sell books. If a child comes and gets 5 books donated to them, then I'm not buying a book. So the only books that I plan on having are the books that are from the attending authors.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Shanika Dupree asked, she says she would like to attend this event, but she's still in the process of editing her book. So is there a way that she can still support this event?
Absolutely, she can. If she's still editing her book, if her cover's done and she wants to get an ad in the program book, she can do that. If she wants to have like bookmarks or some other promotional material added to the book bags that the kids are going to get, she can do that. Or she can donate to the GoFundMe at the bit.ly/wheniseeme. All of that. She can do all of them. Don't even have to be an or. Tell her I said and.
Well, she said thank you.
You're welcome.
And I might put the website for wheniseeme.com. I put it in the chat. So if there are other authors who would like to participate or support the event, they can go to that link.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I'm excited. It's like I said, the city is excited. Everyone, being cooperative and supportive and helping me get activities going on for the kids, the author signings. There's going to be workshops for people who want to learn how to write and publish children's books, and all that is free and open to the public. So plan on having food trucks out there with various types of cuisine to reflect the indigenous people of color, and I'm going to take it from there. I'm
Okay,
excited.
now now you are like a serial book event planner coordinator.
Okay.
So I mean, as am I. So
Mhm.
what motivates you to continue to offer this kind of event?
I think, well, for one, Dayton has a void. We don't have author events. We have book events. Maybe the library has events, or maybe somebody's doing a signing. But to have author events where people can come in and meet the author, I think it's important. For me, it's a way to help other people magnify and monetize their message. And I don't know why I do this to myself, Gwen, because it's a lot of work and all the minutia that goes into it. And people are like, oh, this event was the mom. Yeah, it was a whole year of planning and organizing, coordinating and executing and following up. And it's a lot of work. But I do it so that the authors can magnify their message, connect with our babies, so that our babies can find unique books that maybe they wouldn't normally find in a bookstore or at their school, school library. And then just a chance to put Dayton on the map. Dayton, we got all kinds of stuff going on here. The Troutmans and Paul Laurence Dunbar. And
Valerie, stop that. You put Dayton on the map a long time ago. You're the reason we were going to Dayton.
Okay. Let it correct me, doctor.
Yeah, I think your event, Pen of the Writer, was probably the first book event I went to as an author when I first became an author.
Wow. Well, that was a long time ago.
Well, that was a long time ago. Don't be telling people how old we are.
I'm not giving up that information now.
Yeah, I didn't even know about that. Well, I didn't even know that was an event. I didn't even know about the Pen of the Writer event. I knew about the other one, the Dayton event that you had time, because I would see that one. But that went around when we had the bookstore, so we weren't going to book events because we had to work 6 days a week.
Right. You're a glutton for punishment too.
Yeah. People, I tell people that people don't do this for money.
Right. You can't just do it for money. If you're doing it for money, you're gonna get so burnt out and discouraged.
Right. Pick something
and
else.
Frustrated.
If money is your number one goal, now you have to make money to keep going.
Right.
You can't keep going if you don't make money, and you have to be able to pay yourself, because you can't keep going if you don't pay yourself. That's just, some people.
But that's how you get burned out and frustrated.
Yes, if you don't pay yourself, because you can't give away free labor, you just don't have.
Absolutely.
You got to make a living somehow.
Right. And this is my living. This is what I do. I don't have a day job. I don't have a night job. Book publishing for myself and my clients, hosting live events, workshops and training, all related to the literacy. Yeah, that's me. That's what I do. So yeah, this is how I eat. Like my son used to say, you don't want to test my muscle. This is how I'm this is how I'm eating. Respect my hustle. This is what I'm. This is what I do. This is how I'm contributing to my household, contributing to the family. Both of my granddaughters now are working on books. Life gets in the way. They get it. My 3-year-old, she's now 9. Mimi, I'm not doing a picture book anymore. I'm doing chapter books now. I'm not interested in. Okay. She has such great ideas. You can't make them. So, but yeah, I mean, I just want to, I get so excited when I see the babies. And I recently lost a grandson. He came 4 months early and he survived for 13 days and then he died. And so now my whole thing is, and my son read to him while he was in NCU, he read NICU, he read to him every night. And he didn't read Dr. Seuss. He's reading deep, philosophical, powerful Black man stuff. And so it's important for me, even in that short span of time, the importance of reading to a child. Yes. And what babies, what they can learn and what they can experience, and just falling in love. babies are important to me. My grandma's name is Mimi. When I'm talking to the kids in school, I'll tell them, call me Mimi. You either call me Mimi or Miss Val. You don't, those are your two choices. So they call me Mimi. And I love that interaction with the kids. They love me. Last time I went to speak to a group, they ran up to me, they hugged me. When you coming back? Oh my gosh, Mimi, and they were fourth graders. I was like, what am I gonna say to fourth graders? They're not gonna be they were so involved and engaged, it was wonderful. So I want more of our babies. Huh?
Do you have a teaching background?
My gift is in teaching. My background is I'm an engineer by degree and I have an MBA. But my spiritual gifting is administration and teaching. I love teaching. I love using my words to empower and encourage others.
Oh, okay. I didn't.
And now I'm shifting to the babies.
I didn't know you were an engineer and with the MBA.
And I use them in the book business, but both of those, I was a senior engineer for General Motors. That job has been gone since 2007. That's when I shifted full time into the book business.
Okay. Well, Val, we're at the end of our interview time. But thank you so much. And your book event is in July. What are the dates again?
July 27th. That's a Saturday from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. Dayton, Ohio. WhenISeeMe.com.
Okay. And then Rhonda put the website in the chat.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Well, thank you for being a guest once again. I'm sure we'll see you in the future.
Yes, ma'am. I'm going to be contacting you about that promotional e-blast. Not to worry. I'm going to be in touch.
Okay.
All right, ladies.
Thank you so much. You too. Good night.
Bye-bye. Night.
Okay, so I didn't get a chance to give away the book. I meant to do it while Michelle was on the show because it's her book. So
well, that would have been nice.
That would have been nice. It was sitting here. I just didn't do it. So Sisters with a Side of Greens, if you want to get your copy. The trivia about this book, and actually it's good that I waited because she said the answer during the conversation. And so now maybe it's like the time has passed and people will have to look it up or think about it. But the two sisters in this book, Rose and is it Marvina, they have a falling out over money. What is the dollar amount of the money they have the falling out over? So the first person to answer this question correctly gets their copy of this is an advanced reading copy, so it's not the published, but it looks like the published book. So now our next guest has not signed up on yet, and he communicated with me earlier today. So I'm going to go off camera or Rhonda, do you want to try to call? Do you want to try?
I'll call.
Okay. So while Rhonda is calling, our next guest is Maurice Carlos Ruffin, and he has a new book called The American Presidents that just recently came out. And The American Daughters. I'm thinking of another book that's coming out a month from now called American Daughters. So this one's called The American Daughters. And the book coming out in April is called American Daughters. So they're not the same thing, but they are both by African American authors. I'm sure it's a different publishing house, but their titles are similar. And it could help both books, or people might buy one thinking they're getting the other one. When I saw it, I thought about that. So the first person, it appears, that answered correctly was Curtis Steverson Jr. And the answer is $40 for the answer to getting this book. So Curtis, you win the copy of the book. Curtis is very quick on the draw, and he seems to get the books at least twice a month, if not more. So he made a suggestion, Curtis. I did take your suggestion about author, and we're trying to make contact to see if we can make that happen. So we'll see if we can do that. The author's name is Wendy King, and she wrote The Angel of Greenwood. and I think it's a female because it's Randy with an I. But we did make contact. We haven't heard back yet. We're trying to get that. So you all, if you all have suggestions, somebody suggested Diane Marie Brown, and we were able to get her and bring her on the show. So that was really good. We appreciate your suggestions. And if you have other suggestions, feel free to DM or email them. The only caveat is do not suggest yourself as an author to be on the show. So if you're going to suggest someone else that you think would be a good guest. Because that's just the requirement that we have. So Rhonda, did you have any success?
Well, I called him and he kept declining the call. I guess he wasn't accepting calls from a number he didn't recognize. So I texted him and he seems to have read the text and now he's responding. So we're about to see what's happening.
Okay, because he emailed, I contacted them 4 times before the show. The day of the show is the last contact. And he said he was looking forward to being on. So hopefully maybe he got the time mixed up or something.
Yeah, he appears to be in Louisiana, which is an hour behind us.
Well, no, it's Central Time. It's the posted time on the
Yeah,
flight.
he's an hour behind me, not you.
Yeah. So maybe he.
Oh, he said he sent you an email saying that he needed to postpone.
When did he? Okay, all right.
Okay.
Well, it would have been nice to have let me know before the show. But anyway, what we will do during this time, I can do a few updates. I also want to make people aware of some of the books that I have gotten in from people who've been on the show. And so you all can see some of the things that I'm reading and some of the things I've collected, and actually some other books that I've gotten in. So I'll share those during the time that we have. And let me go off camera for about 30 seconds and I'll get them. Because some of them I've read, some of them I haven't. So anyway, I'll be right back.
Okay, well, while Gwen is gone, the book that I'm reading right now or listening to, because you guys know I'm an audiobook person. I just don't have time to sit down and read the way I want to. But I will show you the book that I am listening to right now. It's called Mrs. Wiggins. Very, very good book. If you've not read this book, it is a treat. It's interesting from beginning to end. I have about 2 hours left in the book and I'm about to kill that. But this is a great book with an interesting subject line. And it just makes you really feel for the characters. I like the way that Mary Monroe created her characters and built them up. So you kind of feel like you're taking a journey with them. So I think if you're looking for a book, that's a really interesting book to read. Also, before Gwen starts sharing the books that she's received, I do also want to announce that I am starting a new Instagram page that's going to be solely dedicated to promoting authors and author events. It's going to be called MTW, which stands for my company, Meet the World. It's going to be called MTW Literary Horizons. And it's going to be a promotional page, as I said, just for authors. Authors, male, female, of any race. And it's going to be promoted to an organic audience. We are not buying any followers. We are not using any bots. This is going to be a totally organic audience because we want to be able to connect more independent authors with their readership. And this is the way to do it. So if you'd like more information about that, you can make sure to DM me and I can get you more information. Or you can message me, or excuse me, I said that already. You can email me at info@mtwimagesolutions.com. So we'll be launching that in the next few days. So please keep an eye out on that. It's going to be a great page, lots of great information. And we can't wait to get it started. It's almost ready, but we're not going to launch it until we're actually ready. So stay tuned.
Oh, okay, yeah, Mrs. Wiggins. I read that whole series.
Oh,
I forgot the other two books, but Mrs. Wiggins was the first one. Then there
yeah.
are two
I
more
have to read
after
the
that.
series because I'm telling you, the
Yeah,
characters
she can
are
write some
all
characters.
put together. Yes.
Mhm. And she has a new book coming out. She'll be on the show on April 2nd
Mm.
with her new book. I don't have the title written down, but she'll be on. Um, Next week, we have two authors who have releases from Black Odyssey that they're going to be on their release date, which is next week. And one is Kay Shani, and the other one is India. So they're going to be on next week. Let me see who else we have coming up. We have on April 9th, we have Ashton Lattimore. And Ashton Lattimore's book, I had it down somewhere. I'm just saying, let me find it. Excuse me.
Um,
The
hey,
name of that
while you're
book.
looking for that, I think, who did you say the winner was for the book?
Curtis. Did I get it wrong?
I think it was actually Carmela Hicks Gordon.
Okay, well, because it looked like well, see, I can't, on my end, it looks like Curtis, Gwen Hayes, and Carmela in that order.
Okay, well, let me
But
refresh that. What I'm looking at, I only see one person with the answer, but it could just be my computer.
okay, we want to get it right. Whoever gets it first gets it. And sometimes we have to make the adjustment.
I'm not gonna have y'all messaging me and fussing at me.
No, that's right. So I want to Ashton Lattimore's book is called All We Were Promised. That's the title of her book. It comes out April 2nd. So she'll be on the show
It was
April.
Curtis.
It was Curtis. Okay.
Yeah.
That's what it looked like on my end.
Yeah, I had to refresh. A couple of my comments didn't come up.
Curtis is quick on the draw.
Yes.
Let's see who we have we have on April 9th, that's when we announced the finalists for the Black Authors Matter TV Awards. So we'll be doing that night. And we have Piper Hughley on April 16th. And I had mentioned that the guest that was supposed to be on, Maurice Ruffin's book, was called The American Daughters. And Piper's book is called American Daughters. And it's about two completely different subjects. They're both historical, but in a different way. So I thought it would be interesting to hear about both of them and to see the difference between the subject matter. But they're both, one is based on during the time of slavery. Maurice Ruffin's book is during that time. Piper Hughley's book is, I want to get this right if I can remember. Booker T. Washington's daughter and Theodore Roosevelt's daughter were President Theodore Roosevelt. They were friends. So the book is about their relationship. And that's the book that Piper Hughley is releasing. And her release date, not sure about her release date, but she'll be on the show on the 16th of April. So we have some interesting guests coming up. And more than that. So these are some of the books that I've gotten over the last month or so. And these are all, well, this one, Tracy Clark was on the show. Her first book was called Hive. And I'm finishing that book up now. I'm close to finishing it. And this is the sequel, it's called Fall. And they're mysteries based in Chicago. She's a good writer. So I'm enjoying reading her book. And she's somebody I didn't know about before. Heard about her and we invited her to the show. And as a result, I got her books. So this one, Rashonda was on the show with her book, The Queen of Sugar Hill. So I got my copy of that. And I haven't read it yet because I got so many books. But it's on my list of books. And then also Vanessa Miller was on the show with the African Queen. And both of these books are getting some amazing publicity. They're really out there. Rashonda and Vanessa are out there pushing these books. And that's what it takes. Now, this book is by Sheila Williams. It's called No Better Time. And this is another book about the 688. So there's been 3 books about the 688. One, Sisters in Arms, and that came out a couple of years ago. Is by Kyla Alderson. We had her on the show when that came out. And then we had Jashonda Sanders on the show a couple of weeks ago with her book. What was the title? I don't have the title in front of me. But it's also about the 688. And then this book came out recently as well. We were hoping to get her on the show, but the timing, the nighttime live is a challenge. Especially when we're on Central Time, it's 8 o'clock on the East Coast. Some people just aren't, available in the evenings. And we get people asking us, do you all tape the show? And no, we never tape the show. The show is always live. That's the way we started. And, the live dynamic, it allows the show to be interactive. And it also has a certain level of uncertainty from time to time and surprises, like when people don't show. But that's what happens when it's live. So we are actually able to bring on our final guest a little bit early because 1, we have the time, and 2, he logged on. So hopefully he didn't just log on and go away from his computer. And I know that Brian can talk. So some people, we talked about that earlier. Some people are shy about their work and they don't, you have to pull stuff out of them to talk about their books. That is not Brian W. Smith.
So we can ask one question. Brian will talk the rest of the half hour.
That's messed up. Y'all wrong for that. So tonight I'm gonna sit here and be quiet. Watch. I ain't saying a doggone thing.
Oh, Brian, how are you? And welcome back to Black Office Matter TV.
I'm good. How y'all doing?
Doing great.
Sitting on here dissing me. Boy, I
No,
tell you.
no.
It be your own people. I ain't lying. It be your own people.
Some people can write a book, but they can't talk about their book. I run into that we on this show, and also I run into it at the festival where people, and you talked about that, where people are just like sitting there waiting on somebody to come up to them and ask some questions. And you're not going to sell any books like that. So it's this whole journey is interesting, and I've known Brian pretty much. I think Brian, I think you were at our first festival, I think, or maybe the second one, but you were there early on, and I learned some things.
When you were at what was the Houston Black Expo?
Yes, so you were there. Okay, so the first 2 we were at the Black Expo, and so we just had a section there, and Brian taught me some things about selling books in person, and I've used them. You can learn something. People have to be open to learning all the time and not think that they know everything. Yeah. You taught me about selling books, and I have one. Yeah, I had a book. I had one book, but I wasn't really trying to sell my books there. I was just marveling at how you were able to sell so many books so fast. So,
I don't think it's that. Look, I mean, it's sales 101. People buy products from people they like. If you're approachable and you're likable, they'll buy it. I use the example of if you saw a car on the lot that you've been wanting it for a long time, and a particular car lot has the car. You get your money right, and you go on that lot to get that car that you've been watching forever. But if the sales rep is a jerk, you might just walk off that lot and go find another lot with the same car. You know what I'm saying? You still want the car. You just don't want to buy it from that person. So people don't buy products. They buy the sale. They buy the sales rep.
That's true. Well, especially in face-to-face transactions. Like if you're not on a grocery store shelf you, you know,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
if it's a face-to-face transaction, you have to be likable,
Well, it's not
and
even just face-to-face
approachable.
transactions. Brian has a good way of engaging his readers, even on social media. So, and I remember, you know, back in the day, Eric Jerome Dickey did the same thing. You know, he was very social on social media. And then when people feel like Brian is my friend, I gotta support him. Or so and so is my friend, I gotta support him. Even if they don't know him, they're gonna for real, they're gonna support him because they feel like they know them because of how social they are on social media. And
You
so
know,
Brian has a way of doing that.
first of all, thank you for the compliment, but I too learn from other people. I'm going to tell you, um, you all, I've been knowing you both for a long time. But when I think about the people who have been in this business longer than I have and are far more successful than I am, the person that comes to mind for me is Kimball Roby. I think that Kimball, I watched one day and I don't know what it may have been a birthday, people wishing her birthday, happy birthday, right? And I remember watching her thank every person, right? And I was like, wow, if she can do that, surely I can. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I just find her humility very impressive because look, if you've been around this business long enough, you meet some people who have a few accolades and they let you know and they act like they have a few accolades. I would just put it like that. You know what I'm saying? And then you have some people who very humble and I teach my students, I teach my kids. Humility will open doors your talent can't.
That's for sure.
So yeah.
Yeah, that and when I talk to young people, I tell them that and integrity
Yeah.
is you have to be a person of your word.
Yeah. Say
That
what you
will
mean.
take you,
Yeah.
that will open some doors and have situations that you never even considered go your way just because people feel like you're going to you're going to say you're going to do what you say, but two, you're not going to embarrass them, by not being a person of your word,
Right. Right.
because if their reputation is kind of tied to yours, then it makes a difference.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. This authors by nature, I think, are real kind of introverts. Writers are, writers are, but the irony is that um, you can be introverted, but you have to tap into some your people skills because that that seclusion may help you in writing a book, but it's not going to help you in selling it. And at this point, to me, from my perspective, I know a lot of young authors may not feel this way, but I think writing the book is the easy part.
It is.
Trying to get someone who is not financially or emotionally invested in your success to part ways with $15. That's the hard part.
Well, some of these new authors charge $25 for a 100-page book, and then
Yeah.
they wonder why they're not selling.
I think I think there are a lot of things that go into it, but either they will learn or they will fall by the wayside. I was just telling some young authors, I mentor authors. I have this mentor group. Right now we're at about 20 authors. I meet with them once a month. And I tell them that the lifespan of the average author is they may make it to their third book, maybe. Maybe. They may make it to their third book. And a lot of times what determines whether or not they make it is their ability to brand and build a support base. And all of that is rooted in your communication skills and being approachable, you know? It's one of those reasons why I am a firm believer. You guys have heard me say it a million times. I'm not big on book release parties for young authors. I believe you take that money and you go to as many literary events as you can afford, preferably different parts of the country, so you can spread your territory, try to increase your territory, and let those people take those books back to their hometowns and grow your brand. You know what I'm saying? Celebrate down the line. So, yeah.
Well, yeah, a lot of people just have a misconception. They just write one book and they think they're going to be on Oprah. Well, Oprah's not even on Oprah now, but you know what I'm saying. They think they're going to be on Tamron Hall or whatever. And I tell them, and I do a workshop. I do it at my church. So I just had one 2-3 weeks ago. And I tell them, that's not going to happen. So if that's your motivation, then don't even get started, because that's not going to happen. And most people I know who have a breakthrough, is at the average is book number 5.
Yeah, it takes if you go, there's an old saying, it takes 10 years to become an overnight success.
Right.
So if you do the math, it takes a lot of people, in many cases, a year and a half to 2 years between books. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Not me, but a lot of people. That's the average, and that's the 10-year mark, right? If you put out 5 books, yeah, right. So that works, and for everyone listening to this interview, I think I've come up with a solution, ladies, to help these young authors.
Okay.
Hear it?
Well, young is a relative term.
I mean young. I mean
young
as
an author, not
young in the book business.
Okay.
So I think I've come up with a solution, and that solution is, you guys know that I during the pandemic I opened a company, Script Repository, that adapts novels to screenplays, and it's done well. During those 3 years, we've adapted, as of today, 40 novels to screenplays.
Good, congratulations.
But what I've decided to do, last week I decided to do it. After, in 1 week, I had two former students, and one just author I know from social media contact me and was asking me for all kind of advice. And it happened back to back. Like these 3 contacts came within like a 48-hour period. And 2 of them asked me to edit. One was trying to decide between 2 editors and wanted me to judge the sample edits that had been provided. The other person wanted me to read. The other person wanted me to help them with the Amazon KDP process, etc. So the light bulb went off, and I've decided to expand the services of my company. So now the Script Repository is now, as of yesterday, a one-stop shop for authors on everything. So we ghostwrite novels. We can do everything from ghostwriting your novel to editing your novel to writing your query letter to help you get a literary agent, if that's the route you want to go. If you want to self-publish it, it help you with your setup on Amazon, KDP, etc. Typeset novels. We mentor authors. If you decide that you want to do a video book trailer for your book, we do that. And if last but not least, if you decide after going to all these streaming sites that you want to see your novel on the big screen, we will write your screenplay for you. There's a one-stop shop. The only thing we do not do at the Script Repository is make book covers. People too fickle and too fickle to be dealing with the book covers. We don't have. I don't have the patience to want to deal with someone and their desire to nitpick a cover because the person on the cover ain't wearing the same color shirt that they want, the right color shirt. Book covers, and I would prefer the cup be in the left hand, not the right hand. And we're using stock images here. This isn't a photo shoot. So the book cover process, they can get that done elsewhere, but the typesetting and everything that's going to have to go inside the book, we do at the script repository. And the goal is, initially the goal with the script repository was to take away the pressure of trying to learn how to write a screenplay or a teleplay, stage play, and all this stuff from authors, because it's an entirely different craft. Well, I'm going to take it one step further, and we're going to take all the stress out the process for you and do everything. Even if you don't want to write your book and you just got a great book idea, come to us and we'll write the book.
Okay, now I have a question for you.
Go ahead.
The people who were approaching you, asking you that, were they trying to get you to do it as a mentor / favor, or were they intending to pay you for your professional services?
They were all doing it as a mentor / favor. For those who don't know, I'm an adjunct professor. I've been one for 12 years. 2 of the people were former students of mine dating back before the pandemic. But I've never put any provisions on anyone contacting me. Gwen, I've given away more free advice over the last 20 years than you can shake a stick at. You know what I'm saying?
I do. It gets old though.
So now,
well, let me say that. Let me say that for me, it got old.
Yeah. Well, with the mentor program, it's $40, $39.99. It's $40
an hour.
No, for the year. For 12 months, you get me for 12 months for $40. No. I am making this very easy.
I'm trying to find out.
Let me be clear. For $40, you have access to me for 12 straight months. I do it and 20 people signed up. The first week I put this out there, 20 people signed up.
Okay.
And every month at a preset time from 9 to 10, we do a Zoom session. All 20 people on the screen, and either I am teaching a particular topic, maybe it would be scene development, or it's a Q&A session where they ask me whatever it is they want to know about the industry, from publishing to getting a book deal, major book deal, whatever it is you want to know. It is a free-for-all, and we meet once a month, and your $40 gets you 12 months. Even if you started in April and everyone else started in January, your 12 months runs from April to April. For $40, you got me. There isn't a question that is off limits. And I think that it's done well.
Well, I'm good. You know what? It's different people have different skill sets and different aspects of their personality that will work for certain things.
I think it's good. I think it's a good service because people do have a lot of questions. And I think it's the price that he's charging is just enough for people to put some skin in the game. Because there are a lot of people. I mean, I remember having an author would message me all the time asking for information. And every time I suggested, why don't you get an editor? Well, I already hired an editor. Well, okay, so you're getting free advice. You're trying to get free advice from me, but you went and paid somebody else. I said, okay, well, why don't you get a publicist? Well, I hired a publicist. Well, why are you coming to me? Go to the people that you paid. So sometimes
they're going to charge them some more. That's why they didn't go to those.
Right, exactly. And that's why I had to put a stop to it, like, stop coming to me. But when you have a person put a little skin in the game, they respect it a little bit more, even if it's just $40. The thing is, they're like, oh, I paid my $40, so I'm going to get my $40 worth. And then if they don't get their $40 worth, they paid their money already. So you're not wasting Brian's time. So
the structure you have too works. I like the structure you have. You have the Zoom call, you have a specific
Yeah,
time.
yeah, we have
You have a
preset
Zoom call.
preset times.
Yeah, if
Because
they don't
I'm
sign
busy.
on, then
Mhm.
then that's on them.
Yeah, they understand for $40 one-time fee. We have a Zoom class every month. It usually lasts about an hour and a half because people have questions. No one's in a rush to get off the phone. I mean, it's because they're also taking notes to my answers to other people's questions.
Right.
So that free for all goes once a month, and I can honestly say of the 20 people, few of them, because at the end I will ask, are there any questions that you wanted to ask that I didn't bring up? And if you have any questions that you want to ask and you don't want other people to hear, just stay on the call. Everybody drop off, and that person will stay on the call or whatever. I can honestly say to you that between those Zoom sessions, those 30 days between, people do not contact me. They just show up because I think in that hour and a half, whatever they want to know, either it gets answered or they are encouraged to ask. You know what I'm saying? So that's just one of the services that are now offered at the Script Repository. Yeah, we do it all. We do it all. I want to be a one-stop shop where from the conception of your book idea to it hitting the shelves, we can help you in any part of that process, and even past the shelf when it's time to take it to the next level and do the script.
Yeah, that's
So
really
if you want to know more, go to www.scriptrepository, REPOSITORY.com.
Rhonda's putting it
Scriptrepository.com.
in the chat. Rhonda's putting it in the chat.
Cool. Well,
The website.
scriptrepository.com. You will not find any prices on the scriptrepository.com website. That is by design. If you're
You
committed,
do custom work. You do
I
custom.
don't do custom work. I wouldn't charge Rhonda any more or less than I would charge you for the same service. But a brother got a little business savvy. I got an MBA on the wall. I've been around the block.
Yeah,
I know that when you post your prices, people people go on there and take, people do everything that, they make decisions, they copy your style, they copy your pricing. And if in fact you are committed to the process, fill out the contact us page. There's a brief form, just 4 blocks. Your name, your email, and at the bottom there is a tell us what you need. That comes directly to me. I contact you, and then we'll discuss pricing. But there's nothing posted on the website.
Okay. Well, I admire your tenacity and your business savvy. And when you're an entrepreneur, you have to figure out how to monetize things, and you have to have your services evolve as technology evolves and just the lay of the land, just things on the ground change. You are both in military background, so I'm not, but I'm a strategic thinker. So you have to make
initially what I was
adjustments.
going to do was I was going to open up another business.
Okay.
And decided not to. I just decided not to, but I wanted to. So instead of opening another business and having to run 2 companies, you know what I'm saying?
Yes, I do.
I just because
you
I
can
was
have multiple things under one umbrella.
Right. I've
makes more
already,
sense.
and I would say the last 5 years, I've probably ghostwritten 15 books. So I was already doing that. You know what I'm saying? I was already doing that. So basically all the things that I do, I just put it all under one roof instead of opening a second company. Company name was picked out, everything was picked out at the last minute, got talked out of it, and just moved it over, moved everything up under this hip. So you'll find that the slogan used to read, "Let us write your screenplay." Now it reads, "Let us write your screenplay, ... and more."
Okay. Now, of the screenplays that you've written, what percentage of those have been turned into films?
4 have been optioned. 4 were optioned last year, and 1 was optioned this year, so it's 5. And that's not counting mine. I've been blessed. I've sold 2 books, and optioned 1. But my novel Quagmire that I wrote, it was in
It's been a while
2015.
back.
Yeah, that
I
production
read
starts.
that one.
Production starts in October for it to be turned into a film. We start the casting starts in July.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah,
wonderful. Now, tell us about your new book.
My new book, The Club.
The Club.
New book, The Club, came out. It was so I've been doing this 20 years now. This is my 20th year. Yeah. And for my 40th book, we talked earlier about like averaging every 2 years you put out a book or whatever. Or with me, it's 2 books every year, right?
Yeah.
So I'm on my 40th novel, and I wanted it to be a little different, right? And so one day I was reflecting. I was like, when I came into this business, so I am a businessman who happens to write. I'm not a writer who owns a business, So when I came into this, I was looking for the best way to grow my audience at a faster rate. So my strategy from the first book I wrote, my strategy was I need to find groups of Black women, since that's my demographic market, right? 30 to 65, up in there somewhere. So I was like, where can I find these clumps of women? And two groups came up. One was sororities, and the other was book clubs. So people ask today, how do you know so many book clubs? Because from day one, I made it my mission to find out every book club I can. And at this, I just about a month ago, I just gave them all a shout out in honor of this book.
I saw your pictures.
So, and that was about 100, and that's just the groups that I can remember, and that I have pictures of. So I made it my point to become invested in book clubs because they have large groups of people that meet my demographic audience. So when it was time for the 40th book, and I was thinking about something to write, I decided that the book I would write would be about a book club. And I called it The Club. And The Club is a book about the youngest member in the book club is being beaten by her husband, who happens to be the chief of police. So naturally, if you've ever been around book clubs, it's the youngest member. If there are 10 women in the club, the youngest member has 9 mamas. You know what I'm saying? That person has 9 mamas, whether they like it or not, right? And in this particular book club, the youngest member is about 15 years younger than all of the other members. So naturally, they're all very protective of her. So when they discover that she's being beaten by her husband, the chief of police, one day during a book club meeting, they all getting drunk and the liquor's going around. They stop talking about the book and talking about her issue, and they start laughing and joking and talking about how they'd kill him. 1 week later, he comes up dead.
And not of natural causes.
Oh no, he's murdered.
Okay.
The question is, which one of these 8 members did it? So you follow this book, and it's really like a mystery wrapped in a contemporary fiction.
Okay.
And it's done well. The book is done well. People love it. Book clubs love it. And what I decided to do, not only honoring book clubs as for my 40th book, but I decided to name the main characters, which is 8 members. I chose the 8 book clubs that have been riding with me the longest over this 20-year journey, and I named the characters after the presidents of the book clubs.
Oh, nice.
Oh, that was nice.
So the book clubs, they get the book and they see their name in the book, and you know what I'm saying. So that's my ode to book clubs. Called the book The Club. The book debuted on the Amazon bestseller list, and it's done extremely well. It's after came out Christmas Day. So we
Okay.
are January, February, we're approaching the third month. It still has a 5-star rating. It's doing well.
That's great. Well, you know, it's always when you write novels, uh, and I have 2 novels, but that's not my strength. But you have to come up with storylines, you know, and that's a unique one.
Yeah.
I've heard about books that have book clubs in them, but not one like this. And
Yeah, well,
and your stuff is so personal too because of your relationship with the book clubs.
yeah, and naming them, they all got a kick out of it. They all got a kick. I've met with every book club member that's named in that book. I've either met with or they're on my calendar to meet with in the next 60 days. So it's funny talking to them, you know, about their character in the book, and they got a kick out of it. And everybody's happy. Everybody's
Now,
happy.
is it set? Where is it? Is it set in Dallas?
Yes, this book is set in Dallas. I had to think about it. I had to think about it. This one's set in Dallas. Yeah.
Thought you were gonna say New Orleans.
No, not this one. Not this one. So yeah, it's the club. I enjoyed writing this book. It took me about, I guess, it took about 3-4 months to write
Yeah,
it.
it sounds like something that you could kind of rattle off pretty fast just based on all you have to just thinking about your book club relationships and their
Well, it's interesting
interaction.
because the book club, one thing that I was able to glean from book clubs over the years is that they all have they got this rhythm, this personality about them, right? There's always the book club member that never finishes the book. There's always the book club. There's always the book club member that talks the most trash, the one that gets drunk, the one who wants to gossip more than talk about the book, the one who's always late. And so all those personalities are in this book club. So you get a kick out of the members. And then when the murder happens, it's like one of these very likable characters is a murderer. So it's been fun talking to book clubs and listening to people guess wrong. You know what I'm saying?
I was about to say, when you think you know, you don't actually know.
You know, right? So
But that's what makes it a good mystery,
yeah,
not knowing how it's going to end.
yeah, no doubt. So I still got I don't have as many books in me as I can feel the transition coming. You know what I'm saying? I've learned to never say I retire because that's when God will wake me up in the middle of the night with some sort of idea. But I do feel a transition coming, excuse me. And the passion just isn't there as much as it used to. I would have a sheet of paper. I would know my next 5, 6 books. I just need to get to them. And I can after at 40, at my 40th novel, I could feel it kind of waning. Like I know what my next book comes out on the 4th of July. It's called Mad Day. So and then after that, I have no books planned after Mad Day. So, you know.
So if you do decide to step back or take a break, because I don't know if you'll ever actually stop, but you might take a break for a while. You'll still continue with the script repository.
Oh yeah. Script repository is a full-fledged company. It's grown in 3 years. And yeah, I don't plan on stopping that anytime soon. You know, that's a business that's gonna be here whether I write or not.
And it's also a business of passion because your passion is to mentor people and help people, and your passion is still writing, and you're still able to do all that.
You know, I think Rhonda, you can appreciate this. I mean, you can too, Gwen. I've seen you. I see what you do, even with your book festival. We are blessed so that we can be a blessing to other people. Like I am one of those people. I'm so thankful for my blessings. I believe that when you stop blessing other people, do not be surprised when you don't have as much fortune as you had before. And when I say fortune, I don't mean financial fortune, just blessings, I guess, for lack of a better way of putting it. If you're not sharing your blessings with others, Why do you think you're entitled to keep getting them?
Well, it
Go
also helps with
ahead.
giving you, for lack of a better word, a purpose. You know, as we get older, you still need a purpose. Because once you don't have a purpose, a lot of people die. You know, a lot of people retire from work and then within 2 years they're dead
I read
because
that.
they got up in the morning and they had somewhere to go. And then after they retire, they don't have a plan to get up in the morning. And so, you know, they don't have anything to look forward to. And so I'm gonna always try to be, you know, relevant in making a difference somewhere in what I
Rhonda,
do.
I can
Yeah.
see, like you recently retired from the military.
Mhm.
You're a young woman. A lot of people I noticed, and we both served. There are people who retire, all they want to do is fish, or you know what I'm saying, sleep, or go to the casino, whatever. But you didn't have to start all that you've started, which helps other people. You, but you made a conscious decision because as Gwen talked about, it's about legacy building, it's about helping other people.
Mhm.
People ask me why I still teach. I had a student ask me last semester, why do you still, this was funny, she had looked me up. She had done some research, right? So she goes to Simon Schuster's page, she sees my ugly mug on the Simon Schuster's page, and she's just doing all this research on me. And she asked me in the middle of class, why do you still teach? And my response was, um, one, teaching creative writing has made me a better writer. And two, there is nothing more fulfilling than when your students come back and they've gone on and written books. And it happened to me as recently as yesterday. One of my students contacted me and said, um, it's been 2 years since I took your class, but I just want you to know I published my first book. And that made, in my 12 years of teaching, that gave me, I now have 7 former students who've gone on to publish novels.
Wonderful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that is, I mean, that's what it's all about. That's
It
what it's
is.
all about. You know, so now y'all look, y'all got me on here. I'm on here early.
Yeah. And you're
And
on here.
we're talking, and then if I find out that after we hang up, y'all dissing me talking about I talk too much, I'm gonna keep both of your calls and let out air out your tires.
My car gets parked in the garage.
I'm gonna let the air out your tires.
Well, we didn't say you talk too much. We just knew that we could
Oh,
have a conversation with you.
yeah, and
As
we
people
know
come
that,
on the show and we have to pull the words out of them.
yeah,
I'm trying to
about their
think of a
own book,
question to ask.
About their own book, huh?
about their own
Right.
book. You'd be surprised at how little people really have to say about
I
their
was
work.
actually talking about this yesterday. There have been times where I'll meet a new author. I'm like, oh, what's your book about? Well, here's the book. You can read the back of the book to see what the book is about. No,
One of
I'm
the
trying to
classes
have a
I teach at the
conversation with
college
you.
level, I teach several classes at the college level. One of the classes I teach is I teach a marketing and promoting your novel class um, at Collin College here in Dallas. And I make my students, a part of the course curriculum is that you have to perfect your elevator speech,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
And it's so rewarding to see them from week one stumble and stutter and turn red in the face, break out into like these beads of sweat to see the confidence by the end of the semester. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, so and what I tell them is that true story. I told this to my class last we're in June. This was last fall, so it was around November, December timeframe. I was going to a Starbucks, and it was in the middle of the day, like on a Tuesday, like at 10 o'clock. And a
Mhm.
young lady hangs out the window because I was going through the drive-through, and she asked me, um, why aren't you at work like that, right? She was just trying to make conversation. And I said, I am at work. I work for myself. She said, what do you do? I said, I write. I'm an author. She said, what genre do you write in? I said, a lot, but primarily mystery, contemporary fiction, a lot of mystery. I love mystery. This is while my coffee is being prepared. I love mystery. Tell me about one of your books. I ended up giving an elevator speech in the Starbucks drive-through line. By the time my cup came and she handed it to me, she pulls out her phone, goes on Amazon and says, is this one of your books? I said, yes. She looked at the Sleepy Call of Mysteries. Is this one of your books? And she ordered a book right there hanging out the window at Starbucks. And if I hadn't perfected my elevator speech or been afraid to speak, I wouldn't have sold that book. I don't know how many people she since told, right? But my point is that you have to always be ready to pitch your book. And what I teach in my class, I give my students 1 minute to go through all the interrogatives, the who, what, where, when, and why of your book. You got 1 minute. We got time. We time it in class. Well, that exchange between she and I probably lasted about, there were people behind me in line, and she's hanging out the window asking me, is this your book, on her cell phone? So you always got to be ready. And that's my elevator pitch story.
It's
Well,
about
don't.
you could have had an attitude like, don't be worried about why I'm not at work. What you mean? Next thing you know, man, got an attitude with her. You didn't sell a book, and you probably didn't earn a new fan. And then she's gonna think you're the butthole, the old butthole coming through the line every time she sees you.
With her energy, you can tell a reader, right? We all know readers. You have people who are just casual readers, then you have those avid readers. I could tell she was an avid reader. You can just tell.
If
right?
she went on Amazon, she's an avid reader.
Yeah, you can tell.
Yeah,
So
but
her
don't
energy,
worry about talking, because not only does this help the people who are watching the show right now, we have a lot of viewers after, we get a lot of views that 2 weeks longer after the shows. And then it gets posted on YouTube as a separate interview by individual.
I know y'all big time now.
No, well,
let me tell you, I can tell y'all big time. I can tell y'all big time. I can tell you big time. Because when y'all first started doing this, y'all used to have clothes in the background and all kind of. Now y'all got logos in the background and
I don't think I had
cookies on the wall. Y'all came up in life. I see it.
We were more casual in the beginning.
Yeah, now y'all got logos and stuff. They used to have laundry baskets in the background. Like, whoa, okay, what we doing here? But now
you always have to do better. Everything you do, you should always, and this, you should always do better. Figure out, how can I improve? How can I make it better?
Now y'all big time. Look, ladies, you guys have been at it for a while. It would have been easy to tap out, but you didn't.
Well, the demand is there and people love it. So it's a need,
Well, I'm happy for both of you. I'm happy for both of you.
Continued success.
And we're happy for you. We're happy that we're able to bring on people that have been in this business for years and years and years, and they keep going. And it helps the new people who are thinking about it, or the readers who just want to know what's the inspiration behind all this material that I'm reading, what inspired these people to write.
To all the new people, just look, keep writing, grind, and pray.
Amen.
When I say keep writing, I mean learn the craft, grind to sell it, and be in constant prayer. That's my formula.
Well, those are good words to end with. So, Brian, thank you so much. Congratulations again. And I may be in touch with you in the future with your script repository. Who knows? I would like to do the script thing with both of my novels, but we'll see. I might fill out your form and then you can send me your price. How's that?
I am a client of the script repository. He's turned one of my books into a screenplay, and I haven't done anything with it yet because it's been a busy year. But now that I'm where I am now, my goal this year is to go ahead and get that script optioned.
No,
I'm already in conversation with someone.
well, good, but good for you. Good for you. I wish you well. You know how to Rhonda, you know how to reach me. You both know how to reach me if you need me. All right. Hey, y'all ain't gotta pay $40. How about that? Look, no doubt, no doubt. Look, y'all, how they say, grandfather in. Y'all good.
Okay. Okay.
I'm gone. It's been
All
a pleasure.
right. Good night. We'll
All
see
right,
you
see you
next
later.
time.
All right. Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye-bye. Well, that's the end of the show this week. We will see you next week on another amazing episode of Black Authors Matter TV. I'm Gwen Richardson signing off.
And I'm Dr. Rhonda Lawson. Have a wonderful evening and a great week.
Thank you for tuning in, and join us next Tuesday at 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern for another edition of Black Authors Matter TV.